Hey everyone, this is Danny. In this video, you will get an overview of the research trends in teaching and learning listening. Why did I choose this topic? My experience in the classroom thus far has shown me that listening is the most important yet most neglected skill in language teaching. I am sure we have all heard a student say, "Teacher, I don't hear well," or "When people talk, I don't understand them." If you are anything like me, you probably tell them you will help, but in reality, you have no idea how to do that. My goal is to give you a better idea how to support your learners by summarizing the trends in the listening field. In this video, I will talk to you about computer-assisted language learning within teaching listening. Embedded in that larger trend, though, are two sub-trends. One, captioning, and the second, mobile-assisted language learning. It was evident to me that researchers are really trying to find more efficient ways to go about teaching English through technology. I will review my findings from two specific technology-related journals, such as Educational Technology and Society and Recall. First, we need to discuss the underlying theory behind teaching listening. Information processing theory states that our brains undergo a process of storing our short-term memory into our long-term memory. A good analogy for this is the USB drive and the hard drive in our computers. The USB drive is limited in nature. It could only have max maybe 8 to 16 gigabytes. In order to make more space for the USB drive, we need to transfer that data into our hard drives in our computers. As a result of our limited short-term memory, it is essential to have comprehensible prompts to recall old data and transfer it out into our long-term memory spaces. Researchers are trying to study how to use captioning more efficiently in second language acquisition to better facilitate this type of process. Through captioning, students will be able to filter out old information to make room for new information. So what is captioning? Captioning is redundant text that matches the audio. You would typically see this text at the very bottom of the screen. This should not be mistaken with subtitles though. Subtitles completely match the audio but in a different language from the original. For example, students can watch the movie Harry Potter and turn on the subtitles to read the script in their native language. Unlike captioning, subtitles is not conducive to listening comprehension because the student is paying more attention to the text than the audio. This does not mean that the L1 should not be utilized in listening comprehension. I will introduce you to 4 different modes of captioning. The first one is probably the most popular and used form of captioning, that is full captioning. As you can see in this mode, the text completely matches the audio. As you can guess, this is more conducive to learning for lower level learners. The question researchers want to answer is, at what point do learners stop to rely on full captioning? The second mode of captioning is L1 target word captioning. In this mode, the student's first language is used, but only keywords, while the whole utterance is repeated in the second language. This kind of captioning mode is still useful for lower level learners. At this point, though, the teacher should begin to slowly remove the scaffold. A third captioning mode is L1, L2 target word captioning. Like the previous captioning mode, the L1 is utilized, but only keywords. Unlike the previous example, though, keywords are also only used for the L2. Lastly is the partial hiding approach. This captioning mode is designed for students to take advantage of the pause function. As the students press pause, the program automatically filters and hides the easier, most frequent words. The goal here is to focus students' attention on the harder, less frequent words. This captioning mode focuses the students' attention by providing them L1 translation. After L1 translation, the words are filtered to the bottom of the screen where the students can recall them at a later point. This captioning mode is effective in all levels, but researchers still need to determine a more reliable way to distinguish between frequency words based on proficiency levels. As a result of technology advancements, PDAs, or personal digital assistants, are the new way to increase listening comprehension. According to the research, PDAs also increases motivation because students have the ability to practice English in any place and at any time. The research indicates that it's imperative for teachers to begin creating materials and strategies for using PDAs so students can increase their listening comprehension and grow in learner autonomy. There are many things to consider when planning to use listening in the language classroom. The two most important types of learning styles to remember are visual and verbal learners. If you recall, visual learners like to learn through images, films, graphs, charts, etc. On the other hand, verbal learners learn through words spoken or written. Each learning style will react differently to the use of captions. Therefore, you need to ask yourself, will this help my learner? Will this hinder my learner? The answers to these questions can help teachers determine the type of captioning mode to use for their particular class. The next thing to consider is proficiency levels. According to the research, students at varying proficiency levels will prefer different types of captioning mode. For example, a higher level student will probably not desire a full captioning mode because it's probably going to distract them. Therefore, scaffolding is critical. If the support is removed too quickly, this can cause a lot of stress. But if it's not removed quick enough, this can be a cause for distraction. So how do we know how much support to give our students? How do teachers know the point at which students do not need captioning anymore? How do we determine the amount of captioning that students need based on their proficiency levels? This is where assessment tools come into play. There are various types of instruments to assess the student's reliance on captioning. For example, technology acceptance model. In this assessment model, the teacher can determine the amount of captioning to use based on the student's beliefs, attitudes, and emotions with the new technology. In sum, the theory behind the use of captioning modes is information processing theory. There are at least 4 different types of captioning modes that teachers can employ in their listening classrooms. Each mode is not the same though. Teachers need to consider learners' learning styles and proficiency levels. In order to determine these things, the teacher can utilize assessment instruments such as the technology acceptance model. As an example of what this looks like in the classroom, I want to briefly summarize one of my articles. It was titled Effects of Video Caption Modes on English Listening Comprehension and Vocabulary Acquisition Using Handheld Devices. They investigated the value of different captioning modes using mobile-assisted language learning. And if you recall, using students' PDA increases motivation and listening comprehension. The participants were 3 Level C classes or beginning students. The 3 groups watched one 20-second video. One group watched it with no captions, another group watched it with full English captions and target word subtitles in Chinese, and the second group watched it with target words in L1 and the L2. After students watched a 20-second video, researchers conducted a post-test, the TAM, and further interviews. What were the results? Target words strategies helped with vocabulary but not listening. A few students did not need full English captions. And as mentioned previously, PDAs motivated them. In the future, These researchers hope to use longer videos, study advanced learner and the use of hidden captions, extend the study, and most importantly, create caption processing tools so teachers can begin using all these different types of captioning modes in the classroom. If you wish to read more on captioning and computer-assisted language learning in the language classroom, please see my references. I hope that this video has better equipped you to teach listening in your future language classrooms. Thank you.